Hello and welcome to the Scatterworld channel, and today I want to go over some of my favorite deals I've picked out from Amazon Prime Day and from other retailers. I'll talk about this in my next GPUs of the month video, but heads up, graphics card prices are set to go up in price later this year because of the DRAM crisis, and we are seeing some pretty nice graphics card deals right now from Amazon and Newegg, a lot of which I'm going to share in today's video on top of other deals for processors, RAM, PC cases, storage, so on and so forth. So I'll get straight into the deals, but if you want to check out a website that'll let you build a PC that could actually take advantage of some of these deals, then I have PCBuilds.gg right here, along with all of my various recommended PC builds. If you're just looking for the best graphics card for your situation or for your PC, you're not looking to build a whole computer, I've got GPUs.gg right here, which you can check out by messing with the different filters and scalers to find the right graphics card for your computer, as well as that same website, but for CPUs, called CPUs.gg. So I think I've covered all that. I'm going to go ahead and start talking about the deals. So first and foremost, we clearly need to start with the Intel ARC A750 at $200 with the $20 off coupon code found here on Newegg.com. This is, just letting you know, the cheapest graphics card found in this video. And as a matter of fact, there was actually another graphics card deal that was available yesterday for the Intel ARC A580 at $170, and that went out of stock like that. So if you want one, this is going to be your next best bet at $200. This is $50 less expensive than the B570. And if you're looking for an affordable 1080p gaming graphics card that is going to be brand new, not used, and relatively speaking, this will be fairly competitive even compared to used graphics card pricing at the moment. The only used GPU off the top of my head I know will beat this graphics card, I think, is the 6650 XT, I think. Otherwise, for $200, if you wanted something new, this here from ASRock is not that bad. But of course, let's start off with the graphics card I teased you guys at the start of the video. You can get a Radeon RX 9070 XT for $650. This is the lowest it'll get all year. There will be another Black Friday and Cyber Monday sale happening this November, and it'll be this exact price. It'll be $650. These 16GB Radeon RX 9000 cards are going to go up in price. It is no surprise why AMD introduced the RX 9070 GRE into the US market at an MSRP of $550, and it essentially threw everyone off. They're like, why'd you set the MSRP of that GPU to the same of the 9070 when it first came out? Well, that's because, spoiler alert, the 9070 and 9070 XT are going to go up in price. So this here from PowerColor, the the Reaper Edition, which I've seen in person, it's a really clean GPU that will cool off that GPU core at $650, is a really good deal. You guys will probably agree with me as well in the comment section. If you want to pick up a discounted 9070 XT and you didn't want to pay those markup prices, this is it. It's not going to get any better than this. But if you didn't have that much to spend, you can essentially get the same sort of graphics card from PowerColor, but for the RX 9070. This at $575 is the cheapest I have seen this graphics card all year. Again, I think this is the lowest it's going to get because prices are only going to go up from here. And then once again, if there is a Black Friday or a Cyber Monday in the future, it's going to get discounted to maybe $570. So you're welcome to wait another 5 months or however long it is till November, or you can pick this up right now, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Better yet, if you want a one in white, there's this XFX Swift Edition card for only $5 more at $580. So if you didn't like the look of the Reaper and you didn't want that simple black look but wanted something with white, this is also going to be a really good deal for a graphics card. And to top off our Radeon graphics card deals list, we have the Gigabyte Radeon RX 9070 GRE, which on Newegg says $550, which is MSRP. But if we click here on discount available, we can pick this up for an additional $50 off if we put in our email address, bringing this to $500, which at that price, not the worst. Not the worst. This is still at $500, going to be, I believe, $75 cheaper than the RX 9070, and I think $50 cheaper than the RTX 5070. If you're really cutting it for budget and you only have $500 to spend, this is fine. But again, I would look at the 9070, or I'll show you right now, the 5070 here for $550 for an only $50 to $70 more. Real quick though, before we cover the rest of the Nvidia GPUs found in this video, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor. For all of my aspiring content creators and gamers out there who don't know what kind of microphone to get, whether if you need to invest on a full-on XLR microphone with an amp or go with a cheaper USB microphone and don't know what to pick, might I suggest you go with a halfway solution like the FIFINE AM8. Like the title suggests, this is quite literally an XLR and USB microphone combined into one if you look at the underside of the microphone. So if you wanted peak audio quality performance, you have that XLR cable you can plug directly into this microphone and then into your preferred audio solution of choice. Or if you want to go for ultimate convenience, like what I have right here, you can plug in the supplied USB cable straight from the microphone to anything like a laptop or your gaming PC. Additionally, note this is a dynamic microphone, so this is going to be perfect to have in gaming scenarios in your setup where it can reject other outside noise and just take in your own voice. You can also change the volume of the microphone on the front of the unit itself with one of the included dials, and on the rear, there's a handy little icon that shows you whether or not your microphone is muted through this red and green light, which you can change yourself. And if you're curious, what if you had both the XLR and USB plugged in at the same time into this microphone? Well, don't worry about it, because if you have both plugged in, it'll automatically default to the XLR connection, which is the highest quality option. But it's recommended to have both in if you want to go that route, because having USB in can supply the power for this really cool RGB band that goes at the bottom of the microphone to add additional aesthetics to your setup. So at the moment, the FIFINE AM8 microphone by itself retails for about $58, but right now can be had for a discount code that brings it down to below $50. So if you want to check out the FIFINE AM8 or AM8T with the included ARM, I have both linked in the description down below if you want to check either of them out, and they are available for these discounts right now as of watching this video in combination with Amazon Prime Week. So if you wanted to look into it, I'd do so soon. So once again, same situation here, but if we click here on the discount code link, we can get an additional $30 off if we put in our email address, bringing this down to $550, which for an RTX 5070 is not bad. I would just personally look at the RX 9070 over this GPU if you're in the United States. Pricing could be totally different if you're outside the States, but if you're in the States, this is great by 5070 standards, but by overall GPU market standards, I'd still pick that 9070 with more VRAM. Anyways, I kind of skipped over my transition to Nvidia graphics cards, but there's actually one that is cheaper than this. We actually have this RTX 5060 Ti 8GB, which is only $350, and for comparison, this GPU was, I think, $330 last year during Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So this is the lowest I've seen the 8GB 5060 Ti all year. It's only $20 more expensive than its all-time low price, which I actually bought one for Black Friday for that reason last year, because it was just too good to ignore. But in this current GPU market, if you're only planning to play at 1080p and you aren't maybe looking at doing ray tracing or 1440p necessarily, this is going to be great. If you're an esports gamer and you religiously play Valorant, Counter-Strike 2, Fortnite, what else, like there's so many of these competitive first-person shooters that aren't graphically intensive, but all of you want to max them out on your high refresh rate monitor at a low resolution at 1080p with high frame rates. And if that's the case, this 8GB version of the 5060 Ti is not that bad because you aren't going to be constricted VRAM-wise in those situations. Anyways, as far as the rest of the Nvidia RTX deals from this video, we have the RTX 5070 Ti here for $1,050, which I would not buy. But if you click here on the discount link, we can get this for an additional $150 off, bringing it down to $900. This still isn't great. I would pick up the 9070 XT over this GPU if you're strictly gaming, but if you deal any bit with AI, 3D modeling, or 4K 10-bit 422 HEVC video editing, then this is your chance to get a discounted 5070 Ti before prices potentially go up even more. Actually, no, I don't think prices are going to go up anymore on the 5070 Ti at $1,000. I think it's just going to stay there because that's already such a ridiculous markup over its original MSRP. But hey, it's white. So if you wanted a white 5070 Ti on a discount, here you go. And there's one more Oh, never mind. The deal just expired. You could have gotten this 5080 for $1,200 with the discount code, and it's gone. So let's move on to the next section. Now, what about RAM deals? Well, I've picked out a few because some of you guys just probably want to see what's out there, even if you aren't interested in buying. So here I have 16 gigabytes of DDR4 memory with $20 off, bringing this to $110, which is, I think, the best we've seen since April or March. So if you wanted to build an older DDR4 based system, which I will be doing in a future PC build guide because I will probably buy this exact RAM kit, then this is available. If you wanted to increase that memory though to 32 gigabytes of DDR4 memory, we have this Gigastone Game Pro 32 gigabyte kit of memory running at 3200 megahertz cast latency 16 with a $50 off promo code, bringing this to $180. Which, you know, still not fantastic, but this is the cheapest 32 gigabyte DDR4 kit of RAM I found out of all these deals so far. But now moving on to the important stuff, that being DDR5 memory. You can get 16 gigabytes of DDR5 6000 megahertz cast latency 36, so not too terrible, memory for $200. That's actually quite good because I think regularly in most of my PC build guides, I would have this $240 kit of Corsair Vengeance DDR5 memory with the same capacity, same speed, but it's $40 more than this. So this is a fairly good price for RAM. So if you needed to pick up 16 gigabytes of DDR5 memory, which I think that's still fine for a gaming PC in 2026, this is quite good. I would seriously consider this. Seriously, like here's the Corsair Vengeance kit that I've been linking in a lot of my build guides, and with this promo code, it brings it down to $226 or $27. So still $27 more expensive than this Team Group memory. But if you really needed 32, we have Patriot Viper Venom memory here. Same speed, same cast latency, but $350 with the included promo code. That is bringing this back to where it was, I think, back in December and January for RAM pricing. Still not great, but again, like beggars can't be choosers right now with the RAM crisis. If you needed this amount of memory, this is the cheapest it's going to get until Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And I think even then, it's going to probably end up being the same price. Otherwise, this is going to go up in price after this for the months of July, August, September, so on and so forth. Maybe October we'll see something, but I'm just making a prediction. Once again, I'll remind you guys that all of these deals can be found in the description down below if you wanted to check any of them out. Otherwise, now I want to talk about CPUs, like the 7800X3D here, which I think, hold up. No, that is the lowest price it's going to be. This at $350, not terrible. If you're on a Ryzen 5 7500F, 7600, and you wanted to upgrade to an 8-core X3D CPU while not wasting a ton of money on like a 9000 X3D CPU, this is fine. This will get you an uplift in CPU intensive games, but if you're mostly going to be running games that are GPU intensive, then there's going to be little benefit to getting a 7800 X3D, but I mean, once again, it's here. If you also wanted to build a new system with this CPU, this is a pretty good price for it at the moment. And I think during Black Friday, this CPU got down to $330, so only about $20 over its all-time low price. As for other Ryzen CPUs, this is the 7700X at $200. This is the cheapest I have ever seen this CPU, and it is a fantastic starting point for a gaming PC. For reference, this is about the same performance as the 9700X. It might be a little bit slower in some situations, perhaps in some it's, a fair bit slower, but overall on aggregate, it's not that much slower. And yet this CPU is probably running $80 less than the 9700X. Actually, let's check that out real quick. How much is the 9700X right now? $260? Yeah, so $60 less. This is a no-brainer. 8 cores, 16 threads, and remember, when Ryzen 7000 on AM5 first came out all the way back in 2022, the fastest gaming CPU on the market at the time, before X3D and any of that, was the 7700X. Yeah, like this is the OG. This is the most any of you guys would need unless you're going to be specifically running an RTX 5090 at 1440p or a 5080, 4090, 7100 XTX at 1080p for high frame rate gaming, which is a bit unorthodox, but once again, I just want to throw it out there. this is all the CPU you need. On the Intel end though, if you wanted to build an Intel Core Ultra system in 2026, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend because Intel's already looking at providing their next socket this year with their next lineup of CPUs on the LGA 1954 socket, we do have the Intel Core Ultra 245KF at $140, which is ridiculous, because they know they're going to be quickly replacing this CPU and pretty much this whole generation in a few months. So, I mean, it's there if you want to get just a ridiculously good CPU deal. At this price, there's going to be nothing faster than this that uses DDR5 memory. So this is there, but you might want to wait and see what Intel's going to come out with later this year. Although the price for this is just... it is really good. I will give it that. I don't know. This one's tough to recommend. What is also kind of interesting to talk about right now is the Intel Core Ultra 7 270K Plus. This has already seen a price cut to $265. Like, okay. I thought this CPU was selling well, but I guess not, because at $300, it's already seen, just a few months after launch, a discount of $35. And the tricky thing with this CPU is you're going to need a BIOS update if you're going to build it on a brand new system with a new motherboard that isn't going to have the latest BIOS out of the box. So that's the one kind of sticky thing with the 270K Plus, is that you need to BIOS update it, and not everyone knows how to BIOS flash without a CPU before you put it in. So that really leaves me with those users who are already on Intel Core Ultra with a really basic CPU like the 225F. And yes, the 270K Plus would be a substantial uplift, but I mean, do you want to spend $265 just for that reason? I like to think you're going to be doing more than just gaming with the CPU. You also want to do workstation, productivity, 3D modeling, virtual machines with multiple cores and multiple threads needed, which the 270K Plus definitely provides. It's even better than the 285K, which was the Halo CPU for Intel Core Ultra, but it's just a little bit hard to recommend right now. Again, knowing that Intel is going to be coming out with a new socket with new CPUs later this year, and you're going to need a BIOS update to use the 270K Plus in the first place. That's about the only OLED that I have on an otherwise, on paper, fantastic CPU that I would recommend all the time. Also, I want to cover some monitors because some of you guys want to know that. I've got this KTC 27-inch 180Hz HVA panel monitor for $131. I think this is just going to give you that high refresh rate at 1440p for a really good price. Like, let's be real, I know RAM prices have been going up and it's caused graphics cards and SSDs to rise with it, but monitor prices have been getting even better over the last few years. And this at $131, I would have killed for this when I first got into PC gaming, because I think I had like quite literally only $100 to spend on a monitor 10 years ago when I built my first gaming PC, and it wouldn't have come close in terms of specifications. It just would have been some really crappy 1080p 60 hertz really ugly monitor. But this at $131, fan-freaking-tastic. I mean, yeah, RAM prices are high, but monitors are getting seriously good for the money right now. But if you wanted something with the same specs, or actually even more refresh rate, but with an IPS panel, so it looks better to look at, we have the Acer Nitro 27-inch at $180. Again, this is pretty much all you'll ever need as a PC gamer. 1440p, 240 Hz. sRGB is rated at 99% for my content creators and colorists out there. At 180, just fantastic. I kind of don't get the hype behind spending any more than this unless you want an OLED, which we have an OLED here. We have the Acer Predator 27-inch, 240 Hz QD OLED monitor for $315. I think the all-time low price for this was $330, so now it's $15 less. And if you wanted the exact same specs as the last monitor, but you wanted to spend, what, less than double the price of that last monitor on something with a QD OLED display to get those really rich colors and dark blacks, here you go. It's for the taking. It's a good price for this kind of a monitor. Anyways, I'm going to speed run through the rest of these deals because yes, they are other components in a PC, but not a lot of you guys may be looking for them. Or perhaps some of you guys might be. We have a King Spec 1TB SATA SSD, 550 megabyte read speeds. So this is going to be great for a scratch drive if you're working with videos on your video editing PC, or if you need additional storage for storing your games on a solid state drive. This is 116. This is not bad given the current market. But if you needed an M.2 SSD as a boot drive, we have this FIFINE 1TB M.2 SSD, $136. It is DRAM-less, but this is the cheapest I've seen a DRAM-less SSD at 1TB go for this entire year. We have a similar situation to the last deal, although this should be, $195 for 2TB SATA. If you just needed lots of solid state storage, but not the crazy read and write speeds, this is going to be fine, especially if you want to offload all of your games onto a separate SSD from your main boot drive. Here's a combo I picked out, showing you a Gigabyte B550 motherboard with 16GB of DDR4 memory. So if you wanted to build a last generation Ryzen system, maybe even with the 5800 X3D, which should be launching today, this is a good combo deal that includes memory that is discounted, so this is worth considering. And even better yet, if you wanted to do this in a micro ATX PC case, because this is a micro ATX motherboard. For power supplies, we have the excellent Montech Century 2, but at 1050 watts for $90. That is the cheapest I've seen this wattage for this power supply go for. It's one of the best rated units at this wattage with 80 plus gold, and 1050 watts is going to handle everything, even an RTX 5090. So whatever the next generation of GPUs, however they might be, should be able to be supported by this power supply. Oh, in terms of cases, I'm just going to run through these. Here's a $30 case I picked out just because the price was just a little bit unreal. We have this Zalman Cubics. I've never built in this, but it's a $30 PC case. And if you want a $30 PC case, here you go. What I like a little bit better though is the Fantex XT-M3. I have built in this PC case before. It's a really excellent micro ATX PC case. And this, with the rebate and the $5 off promo code, bring this down to $45. I'd say out of all the cases I'm going to cover in this video, this is the best deal, by far. I'm a really big fan of this PC case. So if you wanted that sort of case, but taller and bigger, we have the Corsair 3500X, which I've also built in previously. This is at $76 with 3 included fans. I'll take it. That's pretty good for this kind of a PC case. And then for coolers, with this 30% off coupon code, I believe this CPU cooler retails for $26 with this coupon. So if you wanted a dual tower air cooler for really cheap, this is about the only one that I found that'll do the trick. But if you wanted something with water cooling, you can get this Cooler Master 360L. This is a very, I wouldn't say basic, but this is like the essential RGB AIO without all the additional markups and features and additional things that they tack onto these coolers to make them more expensive. This at $70 is just about everything you need if you need a compelling 360mm water cooler that isn't ridiculously expensive. And with that, I think we're done covering all the deals for this video. So again, I'll have them all linked in the description down below, as well as PCBuilds.gg and GPUs and CPUs.gg if you want to check any of those out. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and this is the Skydival channel, signing out.